Hello everybody and welcome back to another OVRC broadcast, this time for round 5 of the GT3 series. We're now at Shanghai this time for this round. The first time we've ever been on this track in the OVRC, ever. And it'll be a first time for us. As normal, I'm joined by my co-host Erwin van der Boer.
Hello everyone, hope you're having a good day.
Yep. And we joined us halfway through practice due to a slight delay in the broadcast. So let's have a quick overview of the track. The track itself is Shanghai. It's not a very common track in GT racing. It's sort of only really used in F1. It is a 5.46 kilometer circuit with 16 corners, and it's quite a it's an interesting track. It's got a very amount of different features on it which make it quite unique. It had a blend of high-speed straights and a lot of twisty corners, so it's very much about your car and how well it's balanced and how well you can make it a compromise setup between the two.
Yeah, I've been spying a bit on the drivers during practice, and a couple of them were saying that this track kind of punishes the front-engine cars. So from the sounds of it, the mid-engine cars, such as the McLaren, which Tom Dentist is driving, would have the advantage at this track.
Yeah, it looks like it will be that way. So 26 minutes left of practice. Everyone obviously started a bit late. We're halfway through practice right now. As some people start to set, well, people have already set times. Once again, the live timing is available for people who want to have a bit more precise information on what's available on stream.
Right. Of course, the current stream time will not be correct on the main feed because of the late join, but the live timing channel is correct. And I'll go over the times right now. At the moment, the fastest is Tom Dentist with 2 minutes 3.4. And then in second, we have Thomas Jensen with 203.7. In third, Mark Whitford with 204.3. Stephen Higgins in fourth with 205.5. Another 205.5 Jorgen Walby in fifth. And in Sebastian Brunner is also in the serve, but he has not set a time yet.
So far, quite an empty session, but hope people will be joining. Of course, Shanghai is not a very popular track, but it's an interesting track, so we'll see how well it will work in this race. If we're going to quickly run down the top 10 of the championship standings, because this is actually quite an important race for a lead fight. Thomas Jensen is leading with 75 points. Tom Dentist is in second with 65. Mark Whitford in third with 56. Dandy Homan, who unfortunately is now out of the series, in fourth with 53. Sebastian Brunner in fifth with 31. Kevin Naff in sixth with 27, who's tied with Steven Jensen in 7th with 27, Victor Berlin in 8th for 25, Jorgen Wolby in 9th with 24, and Atten Kovalainen in 10th with. So as I said earlier, it's quite an important race for the lead fight, because this race could easily sway who is in the lead of the series or not. Very easily. So both of them are looking to get a good result here. Well, they're looking for first or second between Thomas Jensen and Tom Dentist. Anything outside of that would not help their championship hopes, kind of thing. Remember, there's only one more round left after this. There's a 6-race season, so this is one of the crucial second to last round, which is very important for people with their championship hopes. We're looking at Jorgen Wolby now as he enters into turn 1, and let's have a quick you go on board with him as you go around this lap of Shanghai. But now into turn 3 now, which is a downhill. And a slight kink, which is turn 4. You now head towards turn 5 and 6. 5 is the small kink, which shows up now. There you go. And then goes to the heavy braking zone, turn 6. You go. Now this is a very fast section, all about downforce, which is where some cars will have a bit of advantage. Very fast corner, which is turn 7. Then turn 8. Now into the slow turn 9, and then followed by immediately by turn 10. Another quick little straight for a heavy braking zone at turn 11, and it goes on into turn 12, which then goes immediately into turn 13. Turn 13 goes slightly downhill as you rob around a bit on the grass then by Warby, and loses the back end. So, not the best car to have the overview lap. Bit of pressure on. Fortunately, he's now lost it, so maybe explain the rest of that with Mark Whitford, who's currently in P3 right now in the order. In the Corvette. The people are saying that the front engine cars are struggling. And it looks like the gap right now, unless my overlay is obviously going to be a bit wrong here. What's the gap between Thomas Jensen and Tom Dentis right now in session?
It's almost 3/10.
There's quite a big gap. So, well, it's not a big gap, but it definitely is a gap there which is higher than normal between those two drivers. Again, and normally Tom Dentis is actually the slower one in practice, and he sort of, in qualifying, he pulls out the lap. But this time he is in the lead of this session.
Yeah, with that said though, Thomas Jensen just set a fastest sector 1, but he's back in the pits.
Oh, might wait for goes for a spin there. Forward to Stephen Higgins now. Stephen Higgins crossed the line to start a timed lap. He's yet to set a time. I believe right now, so. Again, this sort of turn, this first complex is very tricky. I haven't driven the circuit much, if at all, so you probably actually have more experience with it, which is very limited as well. It's a circuit normally if you it's a circuit normally if you actually drive, it's sort of you will know it from F1 mostly, but outside of that, it's just not really used.
Yeah, it's also. I don't think it's in any other sim than Race Room, as far as I know. Officially, anyway. There's probably mods for AC and R Factor, but yes, not a very common track.
I mean, it makes sense. It's not very popular. It's not very common because it's not very popular. It's got a lot of critique about it, saying it's a bit of a mess of a circuit. But we're gonna see how it works in GT cars, and it should hopefully get an interesting race. Obviously, again, F1 races here, but they're quite different cars. Any other major series of race here is touring cars, and they have a race set up here.
There's 8 people on the server right now. Timothy Haynes and Victor Berlin have also joined. Haynes is out on track, and Berlin's still in the pits.
As Higgins now has across a very large grandstand, which is quite prevalent on this track. It's It is huge. The grandstands at the circuit. Obviously a very expensive track, as Stiggin sets a time with 206.558. Now watch Timothy Haynes go around in the Porsche. He was racing yesterday on the checker flag race, so in the same car. So let's see if he can keep going in that car. Fortunately, he starts a time lap. So now he's starting his first timed lap of the race as Victor Berlin heads out, I believe, on track as well. I believe everyone bar one is out on track right now. Haynes at nearly a second of the pace, sector 1. As classic overlinings now on the server. Heading across the start finish line now. How can he set? Puts himself into 7 or 205. Oh, I don't know. There might be a couple of issues with the overlay, because again, with the broadcast PC joining late on the server, obviously didn't have all the times to compare against properly. Mark Whitford setting a personal best, and he moves himself up to P3. P204. Higgins has gone off into the barriers. I don't know which corner that was, but gone off. Will be looking to improve his times in the Mercedes AMG. Car which he seems to enjoy a lot. He races it everywhere he goes in that car. No matter what series, what he always pick that his trusty Merc AMG.
Yeah, meanwhile, Thomas Jensen has a new fastest sector 1.
Yep, global fastest sector 1. And we don't really know the balance right now, because obviously we haven't yet found the major time gaining sector. Because obviously we've noticed a lot of tracks where you have a sector 2, which is basically if you get it wrong in that sector, your time's ruined. We've yet to see that yet on this track. We don't have enough experience yet. As they head onto the very long back straight. I think it's like nearly a kilometre long, the back straight, or 2 kilometres. It's a very long one. Lots of time I've stopped streaming. Longer than the ones in Monza, nearly. As he does lose some time in sector 2, I believe, as he goes very wide out of the hairpin at turn 14. Across the line, will he put himself up at the orders? There's 40 minutes left in the session. He does not move himself up, or he might kind of put things wrong. Or either he validated his lap. Mark Whitford's looking to improve his time as he heads through the final corner. Now have 10 people right now. Mark Whitford does not improve his time though. Victor Berlin gets set a time. Yeah, I believe he's on an outlap right now because he's got no time clicking away, so he gets set a time. Kovalainen gets set a time. He's behind, but I believe he's on an outlap already. Thomas Jensen set a fast sector 1. Sector 1, I believe, is the sector with the most technical aspect to it. So
Yeah, it's got that really strange first couple of turns. It's like turn 1, 2, and 3 almost feel like just one really long turn. Just one turn that never ends, basically.
yeah.
So it's really difficult to get that right. It's a bit awkward.
He's using time in sector 2, which I haven't quite worked out the timing because I got my track map I have does not actually show the correct timing lines because it's showing sector 2 breaking down the main straight. Well, on this track map, it's showing it's ending before turn 11. So it's trying to work out where the sector lines actually are on this track as he enters the final corner. In this trustworthy Bentley, this is the second season he's run it, but he ran the Z4 last season, but he's back in the Bentley, which he ran in the first season, puts himself into the top position, or has he? Because my overlay's bugging out.
He is in second, although only 4,000ths of a second of Dentist.
Yep,
So he's gotten very close.
Let's see if he can make that Bentley going faster, or if Tom Dentist can push his McLaren up. Mark Whitford across the line, goes a bit wide out of turn 1. Over the line, he puts some. Does he improve his time? No, he doesn't. As the overlay is moving everyone around, can't quite work out who's who right now. Victor Berlin starts his timed lap in the McLaren. Bastian Bruni has improved his sector 1 in the Corvette. As Tom Dentist sets a global faster sector. So is Jensen, so a couple of drivers looking to improve their times. We enter the 10-minute mark. Only 7 drivers so far yet to set a time.
Yeah, there are 10 drivers in the session. Oh, Tom Jensen just took first position. Almost a tenth up on Dentist.
Dentist is looking to improve his time so that he can keep going. He enters the final corner now. Now this is only practice, it's not qualifying, so nothing out of this truly matters in terms of the scheme of things. He doesn't actually improve enough to put himself back in first position, Dentist.
According to the live timing, he had a identical sector 1 and 2 to Thomas Jansen. So I'm not sure that is correct, but it could be.
Could be very, very unfortunate for Tom Dentist to have that. He needs to get some time up because it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him to overtake the Bentley, I think, and not the other way around. The Bentley's got a bit more grunt down the back stretch. Whoa! Steve Higgins spins all the way across the track. So Large spin for him then. Thomas Jensen sets up another fast sector 1. Fast sector 2. Through the turn 14. Technically there is a turn after turn 15, but it doesn't really exist. But it just means that all the numbers, it adds one extra corner, the whole thing. I think across the line he does improve his time. Not by much, but it's an improvement. Victor Berlin's looking to improve his time, he's currently in P4. Into the final corner now, where can Berlin put his car? Can you get a bit closer to P3? Don't think he can. Line, he does improve his time, but he's not moving up the order at all. Hakkinen starts his first timed lap. And he goes straight on there, so that looks like his lap is over. It's only 2 cars on track right now, which is Thomas Jensen and Tom Dentist. None of them are improving any of their sectors. And Tom Dentist just goes straight into the pits. Besides, there's no point staying out, just get some pit practice in. A few more people start heading back out on track again. Watch Tom Dentist head round the tricky first couple of corners with 5 minutes left of the session. And I think Higgins has spinned out again in the background. You can see again his Corvette's facing the wrong way, so he's not having a particularly good session. He's right now in 8th place. Again, the overlay is bug right now because it's putting Wolby all the way back in 9th when he's got a faster time. The 8th.
Now he is in 9th for me as well, so that is correct.
So Steve Higgins has set a faster time. One's always got only a 206.4. So I don't quite know what's going on. And then heads down the back straight. Does not look like he's going to improve this time at all. Hacken looks to set his first timed lap. No, he doesn't. He's on an out lap still, so he's going to cross the timing line and start his timed lap with 3 minutes left in the session. So I believe now people run at the pits now they won't have enough time to set another timed lap. So at this point it's probably worth either just going out for some pit stop practice or just to get some more time on the track, but I don't think we've seen many more times being set. Actually, it's a very good Sector 1. So you can keep us going to Sector 2 now. Remember, there will be a pit stop during this race. It's ×2 fuel usage, so it will have to stop for tyres.
I do see that both Kovalainen and Haynes are improving their personal sectors.
So they may just have enough time to cross the line, but it doesn't look likely as there is now less than 2 minutes left in the session. A lap around here is about a 2:05, 2:06, so as it gets very loose over the curbs.
And though Haynes is about to cross the finish line, he's currently in P7. He does improve his time, but not his position.
Backing us very wide down the exit of turn 16 towards the start-finish straight. Pistons down to P5. So once he got his time down, he got a very good lap indeed. Kovalainen now heads towards the final hairpin.
Very fast sector 1 and 2.
You can hear some people go into the pit lane now, as I believe that's Tom Dentis heading to the pit lane to get some practice in.
Kovalainen moves up into P3, just 3/10 off the current P1 sitter, Thomas Janssen.
So it seems like the McLarens are sort of doing alright, but they're not completely on pace. But they're doing better than some of the other cars. McLarens are the dominant force here right now in terms of numbers. It is a very small grid it seems today, as the track doesn't not seem to be a popular track to race on, fortunately. Less than 30 seconds left in the session. There we go, that's the end of the session now. We head on to qualifying.
Fill up.
1 hour race, yeah?
Yes. So short driver's briefing. Thanks for everyone that showed up, because there's unfortunately a lot of drivers that did not show up. It's probably a combination of the track and the hot weather again in Europe. Yeah, as you may have noticed that not a lot of people like this track. It's quite difficult in GT cars, but luckily it shouldn't be too much of a problem for racing against each other. In turn 1 you may have to be a bit careful on the brakes, because your line will be very different if you're racing someone than just on your own, so just keep that in mind. Though I suspect it shouldn't be too much of a problem with the small grid. And if you're in a front engine car, you may struggle a bit with stability like we did. You can fix that by just adding wing. I'm running 2 wing myself just to keep it stable. Lose a bit of top speed, but for me it's worth it for consistency. Does anyone have anything to add?
Nope.
Yeah, then let's make the most of it with 10 drivers. We can start qualifying.
As normal, that is the drive's being done by Thomas Jensen. Once again, Mark Whitford out on track first. So he seems very keen to get out on the circuit. This should be an interesting quality session. There's only 10 drivers, unfortunately. As people start to head out on the out laps, everyone's now on track. Again, the lap around here is there's quite a long for a lap here. It's a 2-minute lap around here, compared to other circuits in the season where it's been a lot shorter. So, how people do. As Mark has a bit of warmth into his tyres, weaving towards turn 11. He's going to use all that straight he can to get a bit of tyre temp in as he weaves all over the place.
Yeah, Sebastian Bernier is now also moving on to the track. Who waited quite a long time, so he's got himself a nice gap.
So as Mark Whitford heads towards the final corner to start his first timed lap. So, and now heading down the start finish straight on. Now, here we go for the first timed quality lap of this Shanghai race. Into turn 1. Try to hug the apex all possible. It's very wide into there, but we've got to head towards, try and hit all the apexes you can. It's very difficult. Be very careful on the power as well. It's very easy to spin out of that corner. It's slightly off camber, so quite easy to spin your car out. Into turn 6, heavy braking zone, possible overtaking location for some drivers if they get close enough. Heads into very fast flowing sectors. Turn 7. By dab of the brakes into turn 8. And then we now do heavy braking into turn 9. Moving on through turn 10 and now towards turn 11. He loses the back end. That's not very good for his first qualifying. He's now stuck on the side of the track and it looks like Haynes managed to get in front. This one of the McLarens goes very wide out of the exit there at turn 10. Sophie Haynes has now got track position as he enters through turn 13 towards the very long back straight. And behind obviously aborted his lap because he's weaving. I think that's Hakkonen's car.
And so Whitford did a 54.8 in sector 1 before he spun. Dentist did a 54.4, so he is going faster there so far. Of course, we'll be wondering how Jensen does.
As Haynes crosses the line now, Haynes gets the first time at 2:04.8. First timed lap as Warby said to cross the line now. Whitford's time is not really representational because he did have an off moment. Warby crossed the line, he puts himself just behind with 2:05. From Dentist crossed the line now. He puts himself pole position with 2:02.5. Got some times being set. Some people now are on their out there going for their first timed lap as Kovalainen puts himself into second place with a 2:03.8. If Haynes is improving the sector 1 compared to his last sector. Well, his last lap, I mean, not his last sector.
Thomas Jensen is 3/10 off in sector 1 so far.
See if Tom
So
Dentist.
it's not managed the fastest sector 1. Of course, he was the fastest in practice, but so far he's 3/10 behind Dentist.
Yeah, and, I mean, we'll be interested to see if Dentist can keep that McLaren in front. The McLaren did the best race at Monza. Monza was never really going to be a strong track, but he managed to do recovery and managed to get his car into P2, I remember, or P3. Managed to get up the order by just. But again, it was not an easy race for him. He lost lots of positions, and he just didn't. It was not the best race. He got stuck behind the Alpino of Charlie Darling. So, we're interested to see if he can keep this pole position this time. Haynes crossed the line, put himself into P.
Thomas Jensen using all the road that's available to him in the exit of the last corner there. He puts himself up to the P2, just 0.05 of a second off Dentist. So he seems to have made up a lot of time in sector 2 and 3.
Kovalainen cross heads towards start finish, gets a bit wide on the exit of turn 16 of the last corner. Puts himself up to P3 now. So going to be a little fight on our hands between the P3 to P5 right now. Bastian Brunier starts his first timed lap.
After that lap, Jensen was stuck behind Welby, so he wisely returned to the pits.
He's close though. He's very close to the back to Tom Dentist's time.
And as Welby improves his sector 1.
Brunier goes round the final, turn 14 hairpin now. Let's see if he can put himself up into that mid pack. A very small mid pack, but is still there. Across the line now. Where to put himself? He puts himself P6. Walby now improves both his first and second sector. Again now towards the final corner before the start finish line. Can he improve himself? He's currently in P8. Got some people exiting the pits now, so hopefully they don't get in too much in the way. Walby crosses the line. He puts himself P6, so he does improve his time as well. Victor Berlin's yet to set a time.
You can see Haynes and Jensen weaving behind them.
They get all the tire temp they can because that straight is so long that you actually start to lose a bit of temperature as you exit. You go down, the tires cool down and you lose temperature, so it's quite crucial to keep the tires warm while doing this lap. Victor Berlin is now going to start his first timed lap.
I think Haynes took a bit too much curb there behind Berlin.
As Mark Whitford sets a personal fastest sector 1 time.
Yeah, he's still behind Kovalainen. which is not something I was expecting, although Kovalainen is in the McLaren, and Mark himself was saying that the mid-engine cars might have an advantage here. But, he'll be trying to improve, of course. I would expect him to normally be in front of Kovalainen, but we'll see at this track. It's of course a very different track.
He improves his Sector 2 time. Tom Dentis improves his overall. He's global's fastest in global sectors. He's right behind Mark Whitford, so we'll see what time he sets after Mark Whitford finishes his lap. Dentis looking to extend his lead. Whitford across the line. What time is he going to set? He puts himself. Keeps at P4. But he does improve his time.
I think Dentist also improved his time.
Yep, I believe he
So
did.
4 tenths ahead of Johnson right now.
Jensen
Johnson
improved.
is improving his personal Sector 1, but did not manage to improve the overall Sector 1.
You know, on board with him right now. You can see how long this back straight is. It just seems to keep going and going and going. As I believe Tom Dennis's time he set, it was actually a lot quicker. He's 0.4 of a second up over Thomas Jensen.
Yeah,
So Tom Dennis is not making this easy for Tom Jensen. He had a very easy race at Monza, so he goes very wide in the exit there, the final corner, and he bought his lap as Tom Dentist is going to set faster times as well. He's a bit out and goes very wide there, unfortunately.
yeah, very right. I think that lap will be invalidated.
Yeah, I think the back end has stepped out there, and yeah,
He's back into the pits.
Yep. Steve Higgins enters the pits as well. Get some pit stop practice in. There's still plenty of time in the session to get some laps in though.
Yeah, 11 minutes left.
So a lot of people seem to be right now are setting out laps or are not improving any times. And I believe Timothy Haynes has gone off there. I believe I saw he is Porsche back in the pits. So yeah, he may have lost control there, exiting turn 10. Hacken improves his sector 1. He's into turn 11 and turn 12. Hacken's all the way back down in P8 right now. He's looking to improve his position. Heads now down to turn 14, the hairpin. Ooh, the backing is very loose over the curb then. We're going to lose a bit of time for that. Across the line, what time? Doesn't improve, and I think it lost it by getting a bit loose then at the final couple of corners.
Mark Whitford improving in Sector 1 again. He was 5 tenths off there, so half a second. He's very close to Kovalainen right now, so let's see if he can take P3 away from him.
Kovalainen improved sector 1, but didn't improve his sector 2. Interesting to see if he can.
Yeah, Sebastian Brunier also improving Sector 1.
What with him improves his sector 2. As Caroline is a
Will
bit
it
wide
be
there.
enough to take P3?
I believe Thomas.
Oh, Thomas Jansen, that's the fastest Sector 1 overall.
Yep.
Half a ton faster than Dentist.
Enters, goes around the exit off.
Seems Whitford did not improve this lap. As Sebastian Brunier just coming up to the final corner now.
Thomas does lose a bit of time in sector 2. Can you gain it all back up in sector 3?
Sebastian Brunier getting to the line now. Let's see if he can take P6. No, he doesn't. Doesn't manage to improve his time. And stays in 7th position.
It goes very wide at the exit of the final corner, and then, yeah, probably invalidated.
Yeah, back into the pits instantly and out onto the track again.
Oh, Caroline loses it there, center of the curbs. Lucky he was not improving his time, but he's lost time he could possibly make more laps in, as there's 7 minutes left in the session.
Woodford improving on his sector 1 again.
It's now down about the back straight mark Whitford does, and it's just such a long back straight. There's 2 separate camera positions on the back straight, and one of them looks nearly the full way down the track, and you see how long this is straight. So much trying to get a slipstream to try and overtake another car. It's kind of ridiculous sometimes. Especially if you've got DRS or something like that and car enables it, you're gonna be hitting some serious speed by the end of that straight.
Yeah, and then of course there's a tight corner coming up, so you need to brake very hard. Meanwhile, Woodford has taken P3.
Yep. Just under a second behind the top 2.
Brunier looking to improve again, coming up to the finish line now. Not improved by much so far, and I don't think he did improve.
No, he did move
overall.
up.
Or he did.
He did move up.
He moved up into P6. Victor Berlin going over the back straight right now.
Yep, he's
has improved a lot. He's all the way down in P9 right now, so he should definitely be able to do better than that. We'd expect more from him.
I mean, he seems to enjoy this track. He goes very wide out of the hairpin. Don't know if it's invalidated his lap or not, but
I wouldn't be surprised if it invalidated and he's back into the pits.
Yeah, he dives straight into the pits. Higgins looking to prove he's right at the back of the order right now, the back of the pack.
Berlin always seems to struggle in qualifying. This takes a long time for him to get a good lap out. And yes, sometimes he just doesn't manage to do it.
So there's 5 minutes left in the session. People will be able to get maybe 1 or 2 laps at most, depending if they're already out on track or they're doing out laps now. So not many more laps left to go. Let's see if Higgins heads towards the start finish line. Can he move himself up? He's right now all the way back in P10.
Meanwhile, Thomas Jansen has improved the overall sector 1 by a tenth. Although on the exit of that corner he did look a bit unstable. So he must have lost a little bit of time there.
Steve Higgins moved up to P9, which puts Victor Byrne right to the back of the pack. So he's not been the best qualifying for him so far as he heads out. You'll probably only be able to do 1 lap though. They're leaving a bit late to get out on track. Thomas Jensen loses time in sector 2. Or gains personally, but doesn't gain enough time to push him over the boundary which Dentist has set.
Yeah, he seems to be consistently improving on Dentist in Sector 1, but he's struggling a bit more in Sector 2.
Into sector, the last corner now goes a bit wide, but hopefully should keep him intact as he heads towards the start finish straight. What time did he set himself? Moves up by 0.002. He moves up into the pole
Wow.
position. I don't think there's enough time for Tom Dentist to get back out on track.
Let's see where he is right now. Is he in the pits? Yeah.
I don't think there's enough
So,
time though.
He's not going to get another lap in, I'm afraid.
So it looks like Tom Jensen steals pole from Tom Dentist.
Also, not sure if Victor Berlin can get another lap.
Where's he on track
He's
right now?
just coming up to the back straight now.
Really
With
get one
2
more
minutes
lap
50
in.
left in the session. Takes just over 2 minutes to complete a lap. So he might be able to get another lap in.
As Tom Dentist rolls out now, but a bit too late for unfortunately. The lap takes 2 minutes, over 2 minutes. Only 2 minutes 30 left, so you can't complete an out lap in 20 seconds. So I wish sometimes they wish they could.
With Leinen also improving in Sector 1. He's just crossing the Sector 2 line, also managed to improve there. 6 tenths off so far.
Looking to try and get back to P3 again. He was
Yeah, let's see if he can take P3 away from Whitford.
into the final, the
As,
hairpin.
oh, I think Victor Berlin has spun in the last corner, so he'll be starting all the way down in P10. There's no way he's gonna get a faster lap in with.
1 minute 50 left in the session, so looks like his qualifying's over. As Coverline crosses the line, puts himself up to P3. So he's now managed to gain something over the last couple of minutes left in the session. Tom Dentist doesn't look like be able to do anything at this point. He's into the back straight now. There's not enough time in the session. Because unfortunately the way race stream works is that if you your out lap, you have to complete your lap in the time. You don't have an overtime period. So
Right, you don't get to finish your lap like you do in most other sims.
you have to do it in a 2 minutes. So it means in any other sim he would be fine right now because you have 1 minute to do his out lap and then you can start his timed lap and you have enough time. But he won't have it unfortunately. But he doesn't look like doing pistol practice. He's going out for another lap anyway. Guess he's going to get some more experience. Believe maybe he can get a good start.
Yeah, maybe trying to get another feel for a better feel for Sector 1.
I'd say I'll start on the inside line because if he's going to start on the inside line, he should practice his line into the first corner from that and see if he can sneak it up the inside because the first couple of sectors side by side is very difficult to do. So it's one of those things you need to practice being offline, get a good feel for it. But it looks like Thomas Jensen will be your pole sitter for this race. Once again. I believe this will be his second pole in a row. Since Monza, yeah, since Monza. No, from Monza. So there's your results. Quite a small grid, but Thomas Jensen steals pole away from Tom Dentist. Now we
Looks like we might be having a close fight in the mid-pack. There's some quite close times there.
Might be
From
going to
about P5.
be quite an interesting strategies going to evolve here because some people may risk not taking tyres because there's a lot of tyre wear on the circuit, but you may decide that it's not worth it. Maybe trying to jump people in pit stops. You may decide that is worth it, so we're going to see what happens with the tyre strategies, I think, here.
Yeah, of course, Jensen won Zandvoort because he was the only one not to change tires there. So let's see if there's more people going for a risky strategy this time around.
So, as we prepare to get ready on the grid now there we go, everyone's on the grid, we're now waiting for the lights to count out. We're gonna have red lights are on, and we will go green for the 1 hour of Shanghai as Thomas Jensen looks to get the slightly better launch, but it's very good launch from everyone else. The Porsche
Yeah,
Timothy
Berlin has taken P9 from Higgins so far. Let's see if he can keep it into turn 1. Berlin takes 8th position actually.
as Tom Dennis
Falls back
sneaks.
into 9th.
Tom Dennis tries to sneak up the inside of the Bentley. He goes, does he get in front? Going for the outside now. Might actually lose a couple of positions here as Kovalainen comes through as well. But it looks like he's managed to stay in front, and looks like the order at the front mostly stays the same as it did in qualifying.
Berlin has made his way up into P7, so seems to be another good start for him. He usually seems to gain a couple of positions at the start, although his qualifying isn't that great.
Akkonen's looking to make some
He's at
positions
P6
up.
now actually.
Akkonen's looking to make some positions up, but he's going side by side a couple of drivers as Tom Dentis is trying to close in the back of Thomas Jensen's Bentley. Looks a bit faster coming through this sector right now, but can you get any closer? Let's see, try to see the true pace as burns off.
Berlin's off.
Burns off. He went flying out of turn 10. Don't know what happened there, but lost the rear end, I believe.
That was a very, very fast crash.
Yes.
Made up all those positions into lap 1, but unfortunately he lost it there.
As Timothy Haynes is doing a very good job to keep on the back of this pack right now. He's still lurking behind him.
Yeah, Mark Whitford is slipstreaming Kovalainen on the back straight. Let's see if he'll be able to make a move into turn 1.
Well, it's a Kovalainen
trying to go up the inside. He moves makes Kovalainen.
He'll make a little defensive move as Timothy Haynes looks around it, and we're going to head towards our first lap of this race. Looks like as Haynes goes round the outside of the... Haynes makes up to P3. So Haynes manages to make the move in the background. As you can see, he's now goes a bit wide now. Allow Kovalainen to possibly come through again. And let's see if Kovalainen can get any closer as we head on board with him. He's on the... You can see the back of the Porsche right now. They head through the first turns. Too much wheel input they have to put in to get around as... You see the stability in the Porsche as Tom Dentis gets a bit closer now to the back of Thomas Jensen's Bentley. Moves out for the wide line, maybe going for the cutback though.
As Kovalainen is making a move on Haynes. It doesn't look like he's managed to do it though. They're still close together with Whitford coming up behind them.
As it seems that the top two are breaking away slowly from that mid pack. It's going to be interesting to see if Tom Dentis can get in case. Tom Dentis needs to try and make the overtake before the straight, because the straight is where he's going to lack top speed. But the Bentley is running a bit more wing. If you go by what the driver's briefing about the wing on the Bentley. So that may equalise the top end of both cars. As Kovalainen's making a move onto the onto Mark Whitford there, they're still on the edge of the screen there.
Actually, he went a bit wide, I think, in the last turn. He was ahead of Whitford before then, but something happened, and now Whitford has managed to make his way past.
As you can see. So Thomas Jensen goes for the very early defensive line to stop any moves by Tom Dentis, but will Tom Dentis be able to get more traction out of the corner?
Oh, I think there was a collision between Haynes and Whitford. They're both off.
Haynes is all the way dropped back and he's going very wide now.
Yeah, they're still to the back of the grid, still ahead of Berlin. But I think there was a collision there because they were both sideways.
Looking very slow as Häkkönen's going side by side with Sebastian Brunier and managed to slip in front of him. So he's made a position up. Back to our leader fight now. As Tom Dentis tries to go for the inside, but can't seem to get any more traction needed to get round. So once again head towards the turn 6. Doesn't look for the move at all. It slots in behind. And he's now trying to go for side by side, but again, not close enough.
Brunier is making the move on Hakkinen, and he takes P4.
As Hakkinen is a bit wide then. As Hakkinen's looking to go side by side again now into turn 7. And he does a bit of contact that Hakkinen loses the car a bit and then loses position to a bit greedy trying to get position up, and he now loses 2.
Back to P7.
Mark Whitford's trying to make back on Haynes, they both have dropped back to near the back of the field right now. They're both looking to make positions up if they can. They get very close to each other. They can get any closer though, as Hacken's closing the back of. As they go side by side down the straight, let's see which has got more power in the straight line. Looks like the Porsche has a bit more grunt as Whitford drops in behind. And looks again for it. Is he going to try and do a late braking maneuver into this corner? No, he decides to slot in behind and stay behind for now. Berlin is catching up with the pack right now because all this fighting going on, so this is good news for him. As these all are fighting in the back, as Hakkinen is a bit slow. It's all got very close then. Haynes gets very close to the back of the McLaren. As Hakkinen makes the move onto Higgins. They're side by side. Can they make the move? He's going around the outside, but he managed to make the pass before the corner. And that means Higgins.
Seems we have a 4-way fight for P6 right now. So let's hope everything goes well there.
As Haynes tries to make a move, as Whitford goes side by side with Haynes and maybe able to make the move work. And does.
Yeah, Whitford is in front of Haynes. Although, yeah, he manages to stay there.
This sort of pack of cars seems to be very much stuck together. There's two Corvettes, a Porsche, and a McLaren. Higgins goes very wide though.
Yeah, seems like Whitford has managed to take P7 from him. Haynes is starting to overtake
Haynes
as well.
just goes down the inside of Higgins just then. Well, great little move there. He just managed to sneak it up the inside. Higgins didn't do anything about it though.
Yeah, not sure if Higgins had the speed since he went wide for the last corner.
But Higgins is now gaining on the back of Haynes' Porsche. He's closing, but he will be close enough. Might go for the late braking maneuver. He's side by side, he goes for it, and he manages to outbrake himself, I think. And yes, he does. He goes very wide there.
Yeah.
And
let's try not to collect Berlin there.
I don't want to cut Berlin on the exit, but we knew what he was trying to do, but it just didn't work out. He just went a bit too late in the brakes. He's now lost a couple of positions, so he's now right behind Berlin now. As Whitford's on the back of Hakkinen's McLaren. As
our top two has pulled away from the rest of the pack, although they are sticking very closely together.
Whitford managed to make
Thomas Jansen.
Whitford managed to make the move though on Hakkinen. It happened in turn 3 and 4. He's managed to slip around the inside, so he's now moved himself up into P6. Dentist is trying to get a bit closer now to the back of Tom Jensen's car. They head through turn 12. See if they can get anything done. Doesn't look like there's going to be any more slipstream now. We hit the 50-minute mark.
Whitford's moving closer to Walby on the just getting onto the back straight. There's a fight for P5.
Yep, as we watch.
See if we can get close enough to make a move into the braking
He's
zone.
got a bit more speed. He's going side by side now. They're going to have to do more brave on the brakes. They both seem very equal, but Whitford has the inside line. We'll be trying to come back at him. No, he can't. He's just lost the position. So a good move by Whitford to get him to P5. Tom Dentist still glued in the back of that Bentley though, so you just see if he can get past, or will he wait for the pit window to sort of open up, and will he try and do a risky strategy? Because you may think that he may be able to last without going for new tyres, thinking that he's got a bit more stability in that McLaren, but maybe just too risky overall to not do it. I think it's going to be a battle of strategy to decide who's going to win this top fight, because I don't think any of these two cars can manage to get past each other. There's too different. The McLaren doesn't have quite the top speed to use most of the slipstream as possible. So, will Thomas Dentist get closer? Dentist goes a bit wide there. Again, he's not gaining enough speed really. Like he's gaining now, but it's a bit too late. You want to gain speed anyway. Tom Dentist goes defensive once more, and Tom Dentist sneak up the inside. Still not close enough to really get him move working. So meanwhile, in the rest of the field, the rest of the pack is sort of split up. As Haynes and Hakkinen getting close to each other, but not really close enough to mount a challenge.
Yeah, well, Hakkinen is also getting close to Walby, although they've been sort of sticking in the order they've been at the moment. So, yeah, not a lot happening there, but they are sticking close together, so maybe we'll see something develop there.
As Dentist seems to have lost a bit of time onto the back of Thomas Jensen.
Yeah, he did.
Try and close the gap once more, but it doesn't look like it will be happening anytime soon. Go to Timothy Haynes, who's trying to close the back of Hakkinen's car. Hakkinen's trying to close the back of Walby's car. This is a fight for P6. Tom Dentist, I think, has had going slow, but Thomas Jensen goes a bit wide. So looks like there are changes.
He's gone very wide, and Tom Dentist has taken P1.
Don't know what happened there. He might have broken himself going into the first.
Does look like it, yeah.
But now let's see how quick that Bentley can make his pace back up onto Tom Dentist. Can he get close enough to challenge for the lead, or can Tom Dentist finally manage to make a breakaway? Been right in the back of each other for a while now, so the 15 minutes completed of the race. Still 45 to go. A lot of time to fix
Meanwhile, in
that.
the fight for P6, Walby seems to be pulling away slightly, but Haynes and Häkkinen are staying very close together. Certainly, Haynes getting very close onto his back now, so I
You're
wouldn't be
very
surprised
close
if
now. We
have
just
the
saw.
opportunity to overtake pretty soon.
Can make a move going to this braking corner. Looks like he might be able to, but it's a bit too
He's
far
he's
away.
too far off.
Yeah, it's too far away. I mean, he looked for it, but I don't think it was meant with any heart. I think it's more just a saying, "I'm here."
Yeah, I mean, lost a bit of time there also. Just looking for it, so I'm not sure if that was a smart thing to do.
Haynes starting to close back again on Häkkinen's car. Current running order is Thomas Dentist, Jensen, Kovalainen, Brunier, Whitford, Walby, Häkkinen, Haynes, Berlin, and Higgins. There's your current running order for the 10 cars competing in this race. It's a shame we don't have more here because so far it's actually been quite a good race. Hopefully this broadcast will change people's mind about this track because so far it's been a very good race. As Haynes looks on the back of Häkkinen, he tries to outbrake him again. This is the place where he lost a bunch of time last time. Can he make it work this time around? It looks like he may be able to. No, he doesn't. He slots in behind.
No, Häkkinen stays in front.
But Häkkinen is a bit wide there at the exit of that corner. Thomas Jensen seems to be struggling a bit more to keep close to the back of Tom Dentist's car. The whole thing around the 1 second mark compared to earlier where it was hanging about the half a second mark.
Haynes getting close onto Häkkinen once again. See,
As he goes very
tries to
bright
go
late on the
around
brakes.
outside.
Tries to go for a diving around the outside, but can he get? Oh, the
Oh!
Häkkinen's lost control.
Häkkinen spun.
Well, you got a bit of contact there.
Victor Berlin coming up behind him.
Unfortunately, that was all on Häkkinen.
Oh, let's see. Maybe he loses the position to Higgins as well.
I think he's managed to get away there, but unfortunately, after Haynes loses the position to Berlin now. Berlin's trying to go around the outside of turn 8. Now they're heading to turn 9. He's got the inside line. Very wide out there, but managed to slot him in front, so don't know how happy Berlin's going to be about that because he did sort of gain a bit of advantage, but I don't think it's really anything major going on there. I think he sort of had to go wide just because of Victor Berlin's positioning. But going back to the Häkkinen instance, that's all in Häkkinen, unfortunately. He just lost the rear, spun the rears, and then lost control. I don't think Haynes has really anything to do with that.
Yeah, certainly looks to me like he just lost the backhand on his own. I think he's lucky he's managed to get back on the track before Higgins arrived.
But Haynes is now. Berlin's managed to close on the back of them because of it, so Berlin's managed to gain quite a bit. As Whitford's on the back of Sebastian Brunier. The two Corvettes having a good old fight now.
And Berlin getting close onto Haynes on the main straight right now. Looks like Haynes is trying to go on the inside into turn 1 to defend.
Yeah, but then he goes round the outside.
Berlin,
They go side by
tries
side.
to take the inside into turn 2.
Side by side, but Haynes has got the inside line now. There's a bit of contact there. As Haynes, I believe, will manage to stay in front for now.
Yes, Berlin had a bit of oversteer there.
I think it's the nature of that corner because you sort of have to, even to get round in that corner, you have to sort of chop off the nose of the car in front to sort of get a position. So, the nature of that corner.
Oh, Whitford getting close onto Brunier. Trying to go on the inside of him. No, he
This is
slots him behind again.
these two Corvettes having a fight again. As Whitford looks to the outside, they're going to might get side by side now as they enter into the very sharp turn 11. Whitford got the inside, which then turns to the outside, but I believe he might be a bit in front. Sebastian looks at the inside, see if he can make a move happen. I think he's a bit too far back, and Whitford's managed to get past now into P4.
He's on the back straight now, but I'm not sure he's close enough to make a move into turn 1. He is of course getting closer in the slipstream, but I don't think he's close enough to make a move on the braking.
Oh, he goes for it anyway. Goes at the inside, but a bit too far away to really make the move. But he's going to get the inside line. No, he doesn't. He stops him behind. And I believe Higgins had a spin earlier. He lost a bunch of time on the back of Hakkinen.
Oh yeah, he's far behind now. Seems like Jensen is closing up on Dentist again. Certainly getting closer. Still sticking behind him for the time being.
As Berlin's getting closer to the back of Haynes now, so maybe let's have another go at each other. Similar thing to lap 1 again, it's almost the same thing exactly happening. But I think Haynes is a bit more further in front this time, so he doesn't have to worry about doing not contact. But he needs a good exit here to keep in front of the McLaren. He does get that good exit. I think the McLaren's got a slightly better one now. McLaren starts closing the distance. I believe some people's tyres are slowly getting worn down a bit, because we just saw Berlin's car wiggle at the back end there, so I think his tyres are getting slightly worn. We need to see if he can keep that going though. Enter at 37 minutes are left in the race. 7 minutes until the sort of normal pit stop time of most of the drivers. Pit stop is not, well, it's not forcefully required, but it is required just due to the nature of the fuel allocation. As Berlin goes down the inside there and pushes Haynes really far out. As Jensen gets in the back of Dentist's McLaren now, so looks like Jensen's managed to find some pace again. So he got a slightly better exit again out of turn 4.
Oh, Haynes is into the pits.
Okay, so Haynes is the first pitter, it seems. So it's getting close to Berlin, but it's always trying to do some sort of.
Hakkinen is also pitting, so I'll keep an eye on them to see what their strategy is going to be.
Seems like a very early pit stops though. It's only time is a 36, so they're going to have to go longer if they do go for tyres than otherwise would do. Let's see how this all plays out now, as they have triggered the pit stop sequence, though. So see if they can keep this going now.
Right, Haynes is changing tires right now. Looks like Hakkinen will be too. Both are changing tires.
That's 2. I always think that the lower end of the grid, apart from Monza, they will generally change tyres most of the time. But it's more the upper field to see if they will change tyres or not. As Jensen's a bit.
Right. Oh, Hakkinen is actually out of the pits earlier than Haynes. Even though Haynes came in earlier. So, not sure why that is. Maybe a difference in the amount of fuel they're putting in, or one of them only changed 2 tires, maybe.
Nice to know that sort of information, but yeah, you are correct. Hakkinen has pulled out in front of Haynes. None of the leaders have gone to the pitch yet as we hit the 35-minute mark. Jensen has lost a bit of time onto Tom Dentis, but not really enough to start losing him. There's still very much these two are right together right now.
Berlin is coming into the pits right now, I think. Yeah, he is.
That makes a third pit stopper. Again, it's still very early for pit
Yeah.
stops. I'm so surprised about people going for the pit stops this time and rather not waiting for a bit closer to halfway. They're going, I mean, it shouldn't matter too much, but it may affect them in the end if their tyres are already starting to go now. Seems a bit risky to do an early pit stop for the sake of not feeling comfortable now, but actually risking the rest of the race. As Tom Jensen is now out of the 1 second mark. Jason to see if he can get closer now.
And Berlin is changing tires as well. See if he can join in front of Häkkinen. Be interesting to see where he ends up. I think Häkkinen will get past. He will. Häkkinen gets past right now.
Häkkinen had a very
So
short
does
stop then.
Haynes.
Burns had a very slow stop.
Yeah.
And is now behind both of the people he's fighting against.
Yeah, I think Häkkinen had a really short stop there.
So the lead fight is still very close. Not as close as it was earlier, but we're going to see after the pit stops, because again, one of them may try to be a bit crafty with the pit stops again. But this track does seem to be a lot easier to overtake on than Zandvoort. So it may not work out if they try and do the same strategy as was used at Zandvoort. If you weren't there, of course, what happened was that Janssen didn't take any new tyres at the pit stops. He just managed to gain track position.
Oh,
and
Higgins is off the track. He was just going very slowly.
Yep, and he's
onto the grass. He's back on track now. Coming up to the back straight.
got a bit of front damage now in that Corvette, but it's not been a good race for him at all right now.
No, he was struggling with the track in practice. So, yeah, he was not expecting to have a good race here.
So Jensen trying to close up the back of Dentist, but doesn't seem to getting properly close yet. Hovering around the 6/10 to a second area. The clown may have a slight pace advantage. Right on the back straight now as the Bentley starts closing. Bentley does have a bit more straight line grunt, but it's still quite far away, so no real attack under braking maneuver can really be done. So again to the 31-minute mark. Let's see if any of them decide to pit. And okay, Jensen's gone the pits. Jensen's gone the pits now.
I see. I'll be keeping a close eye on that.
So this is now going to get interesting now. One of the leaders has done it. He's going for the undercut. He decided to call it first. Let's see what Thomas Dentist does now. He's got no pressure on him now, so he's got to try and get a good lap in. Box this lap or box the next. He's probably going to box next lap. So if you keep track on what Tom Jensen's doing, gets past.
Just driving into his pit box.
He gets passed by the field.
Jensen is changing tires.
So Jensen is changing tyres. So I was actually slightly worried for a second he would try and do the same strategy as last time, but Guessing he's not feeling confident now. Now it's really on Tom Denton to see if he can get a good lap out and get the better tyre strategy. He's now going to pit 1 lap later, so he's going to have a closer to halfway. So he will have 1 lap fresher tyres. Don't know what that means, but it's something to bear in mind. I mean, it really depends how much tyre wear the McLaren's giving.
Right, as Jensen now rejoins the track in 6th.
Yep, he's pulled out behind Wolby by quite a bit. 3 seconds behind the front pack. But all the cars behind him have done a pit stop apart from Higgins. So Higgins is the only car yet to not pit was behind Jensen. Let's see what Pentis does as he enters towards the hairpin now. Will he go into the pits this lap? He looks probably like he will, as he doesn't. So Dentist decides to do another lap.
Interesting.
You can see the back of Victor Berlin's McLaren in front. His fastest lap is a 2:03. His last one was a 2:04.2. So let's see what Thomas Jensen's lap will be after he does 1 lap out on the tyres. As he's still yet to complete a new lap on the tyres, and he's on his out lap still.
Oh, as Quiverline coming into the pit lane now. I think there's also someone coming up behind him. That's Sebastian Burnier, I think. And Jorgen Walby. So 4 people just coming into the pits now.
So is that all
Whitford.
Whitford's in the
Yeah,
pit?
so it's currently Whitford, Quiverline, Burnier, and Walby in the pits.
So it's going to be only 2 cars not to pit yet, as we watch Thomas Jensen cross the line now. Not cross the line now, but in a bit. So the only people not to pit yet will be Dentist and Higgins after this lap.
Quiverline changing tires right now.
As Tom Jensen jumps
So
into.
it's Whitford. Someone's out on the track already. Walby's out, so I think he did not change tires. And while all the others do.
We'll be going for the risky strategy to try and gain track position. But one thing to note, look at the gap between Thomas Dentist and Jensen. 70-second gap right now. It'll be quite interesting to see what happens at the end of the pit. I haven't timed the pit length of this circuit.
Whitford just rejoining the track now. He joins back in P6 behind Higgins.
So Higgins yet to pit, so I don't think Higgins is going to be really an issue for him. I mean, Higgins can try and defend this, but I don't see any purpose in doing so. Higgins is just a back marker at this point, as Tom Dentist doesn't go to the pits again. So he is. I don't know what he's trying to do now.
I mean, it seems to me like he will not be changing tires and just
Splash and
going
dash.
on the fuel he has until
Splash.
the end.
Splash and
Until
dash.
it's empty. Yeah.
I think it might be a bit, but we have a splash and dash. Let's be very interested to see as can he maintain the gap of 70 seconds between him and Tom Jensen. But it looks like Tom Dentist is saying after Zanford saying I'm not being caught out on strategy this time around. I'm going to be the one that's going to do the fancy strategy, and it's done exactly that. It seems he's done an extra couple more laps compared to him.
Yeah, only Dentist and Higgins are yet to pit, and the rest of the field have.
There's a fight going on.
Most people changing tires. I believe Walby did not change tires, but I think that may be it.
So Haynes is closing the back of Hakkinen again. So these two are in the fight. Looks to make a move, but doesn't decide to do it. But he looks like again going for the inside now, around turn 12. Making the move now. He make it stick. He goes side by side. The Porter have slightly more grunt in a straight line. But Willow Mason now comes down to the braking of the hairpin. Haynes has got the inside line, but Hakkinen might try and swap back on him, but it doesn't look like the back end steps out a bit. So, if these cars have pitted, so this fight will probably be going on to the end. Unless one of them has a crash or pulls away. The main thing to look at though is the gap between Thomas Jensen and Tom Dentis. Hakkinen goes right at the inside because Haynes goes very wide into the first corner, and now it's behind, but he goes around the inside. He's done exactly the same thing he did to Victor Berlin before, on Hakkinen. So Haynes seems to be understanding how to defend that front corner. He's going very wide into it. Look like he's lost the position, but comes immediately back into turn 3. With 2 cars who've yet to pit, as Hakkinen trying to make a move. Again, looking for the move. Can he find it? Ow. Oh, and Hakkinen loses it. So Hakkinen loses it on the curb. And he's now lost all the time he had on the back of Haynes. And he might lose it to Berlin, because Berlin's got a lot more speed coming out of that final corner. As in the distance, there is Tom Dentis, who is currently in the lead. Denton is slowly closing the gap though. So, let's see if the strategy called by Dentis works. Like, Berlin may have to quite be close enough to the back of Hakkinen's car to make anything happen.
Dentis still not into the pits.
Oh,
So he's going to keep going.
He can't change tyres now, I don't think. If he changes tyres, he'll be out behind Jensen. He has to go for a splash and dash. I'd be interested to see, because it's been the first time we've seen it in this series so far. It's a splash and dash. We've seen full-blown tyre change. We've seen no tyre change but fuel only. And we're going to see a splash and dash now. So,
Yeah, also keep in mind in the fight for P3 right now that Walby does not change tires while his competitors did.
he's got a 12-second lead.
Might have some interesting battles happening there towards the end of the race.
As he's got a 11-second lead over Kovalainen at this point.
As Victor Berlin is getting very close to Hakkinen right now.
Yeah, so it looks like their mistake by Hakkinen might have cost him a position, because Victor Berlin had a very slow pit stop, which is why he's right at the back of the field again. They weren't happy.
Right, I think he may have overfueled.
He's either overfueled or missed his pit box and have to move and readjust. So
I think he got it right in his pit box.
he goes around the inside as they go around, but he's not quite in front yet. And yes, he does lose a bit of time there. So the inside line is probably the best on tape. But he's right behind him now. They're weaving all over the place down the back straight.
He'll be going for the move into the hairpin.
Diving down the
Looks
inside.
and
Hakkinen will Hakkinen fight
see if
back.
Hakkinen
Hakkinen
can take
fights.
it back.
They're
We're
fighting.
very, very close there.
He's now got the outside
But
line
so
now.
far, Berlin.
And he goes, oh, that's a very, very
Berlin
aggressive
has-
cut there.
Yeah,
That's a very
that's a cut.
lucky he didn't gain too much time out of it, because that would have been not the best idea to have the spotlight on you while you're doing that maneuver. So he now slots him back, and Berlin managed to make the move down into the hairpin.
Yeah, I think if Hakkinen went ahead of Berlin there with that cut, I think he would have to give the position back. 'Cause that was just that was not legal.
That's not legal at all. Yeah, if you didn't give it back, you had to have a stern word with the stewards after the race done. So we're hitting the 20-minute mark. our leader has yet to pit. His lapping is slower than Thomas Jensen's, though, by around 2 seconds, Neil.
Yeah, Bernier is also closing up on Higgins. Of course, Higgins has not pitted yet. Seems to be going for the splashing dash, just like Dentist.
As Higgins does get a bit wide there. I can't
Bernier
blame
takes
Higgins
position.
for getting a strategy, because it's the only chance he has of getting positions. He had an awful race, so he's going to have to do something special to get this working. And he's trying now, and I can't blame him, honestly. Sometimes it's worth to do a risky strategy, try and gain a couple positions out of a mess.
Yeah, although looking at the gaps right now, it looks like he'll be rejoining all the way down in last. It's quite a sizable gap.
The
Once he
interesting
does
thing to
pit.
know is I'm pretty sure Tom Dentist is closing on the back markers. He's getting closer. Like, in that back straight, he looks like he's getting closer each lap.
Right.
He is lapping quicker than the back markers, still. As I believe Higgins just pulls into the pit just then, so
yeah, Higgins into the pits. So
and here we go, Tom Dentist in the pits now.
Lap as well.
Tom Dentist is in the...
Yeah, I was expecting that. Since Higgins was going into the pits, I guess Tom Dentist must have been out of fuel by now as well.
So here we go, leader's now into the pits. So now I guess the car to watch is Thomas Jensen, if you can keep track of the pit stop. I'm sorry about the mic, the depth of the mic this time, because I was a bit like waiting for that to happen. It just happened just then. So 20-minute mark, he's finally in the pits.
Oh, it looks like Higgins is changing tires.
So
So I think he'll just be trying to go to the end with minimal risk.
So Tom
As,
Dentist is on the move
Tom
again.
Dentist is off. He's
So-
back onto the track.
So he's managed to make it work. As Thomas Jensen is coming through this final corner now.
Yeah.
He's crossing the line.
Dentist rejoins 16 seconds ahead of Jensen.
So he's just done what exactly Thomas Jensen has done to him. This time waiting a bit longer. So let's have it's gonna be a 17-minute charge for Thomas Jensen, see if he can get close enough to Tom Dentist.
This will be interesting. Of course, this track is a lot easier to overtake on than Zandvoort.
It's going to be... I think the main thing you need to look out for is the pace of lapping now. Tom Dentist is going to have worn tyres and a heavier car. His car should be lighter than Thomas Jensen. Thomas Jensen's got fresh rubber. I think it's going to be a similar case to Zandvoort, but this time it might be even trickier though for Thomas Dentist to defend. It's just the track. There's so many chances here you can actually overtake on the long back straight, the first corner, turn 6, turn 11,
Yeah.
turn 9.
It's especially difficult to defend into the corner at the end of the back straight.
You got to go very defensive very early on, and you got to hopefully they don't try and go for the cutback on you. So 13 a second gap between the lead and second place. Warby is slowly getting close by Kovalainen now.
Yeah, a reminder that Wolby did not change tires.
So Warby might have
competitors did.
Warby might have pulled this off. He can hold back Kovalainen. Kovalainen is definitely in visual range. Let's see if Warby can keep this going for 15 minutes. So 2 cars didn't change tyres. One of them is the leader, one's in the lead, and one right now is in P3. The only podium position right now which has changed tyres is Thomas Jensen. I think at this point you can obviously... Thomas Jensen must know by this point what has happened to him, and he's now going to be on the full attack.
Yeah, I'll have a look at the lap times at the end of this lap to see exactly how much faster Jensen is going compared to Dentist at the moment, because he does seem to be gaining, as you would expect.
So, as Kovalainen goes down the inside of Wolby, so Wolby goes very deep and loses position to Kovalainen and manages to overtake Wolby, and Wolby drops down to P4. Not what Wolby wanted, because his strategy basically had to depend on the fact that his tyres would go to the end, but he's lost the position now, and Kovalainen has moved to P3 again. There's still 37 seconds behind the leaders, though. And how much more pace the leaders have had at this track. It's been insane how quick those two drivers have been. I believe that Kovalainen has managed to make a small break from it from Wolby. I think Wolby has quite enough pace to keep it going.
Yeah, his tires will be pretty worn at this point. So he's got to hope to stay in front of Whitford.
Got a 9-second gap to Whitford. So he might be able to do it. But it's the gap between the leaders, though, is closing. It is closing every lap. It's now 10 seconds. Let's see. 2:05 was Tom Dentis's last lap.
Alright, let's see. Jensen comes across the line now.
And these set is 2:03 seems to be his consistent pace.
Alright, now this did a 2:05.2 and Jensen did a 2:03.4, so that's quite a lot faster. On a track with a ton of overtaking opportunities. Only 13 minutes left in the race though, but I think he'll be able to close up.
I guess the real question is how much defending can Dentist do? And will, as another question is, will Jensen overcook it? It's very easy to overtakes here. Like Thomas Jensen already overcooked turn 14, which is how he lost his track position. And the only issue here for Dentist is Dentist's strategy, I think, was depending on him being behind. It's very obvious by the way he did it, because if he was in front, he probably would have wanted to call the pit stop first and force Jensen into doing something risky like this. But so it might be shot him in the foot. But we'll see. Maybe he just doesn't believe he has the complete pace. Maybe he thought that he's struggling because he was struggling with Thomas Jensen earlier. That may be a better idea just to do a risky strategy. So now in visual range, you can see in the back straight Thomas Jensen in the background, closing the distance every lap. Now 7-second gap. The rest of the field slowly spreads out a bit more. Häkkinen's lost a bit of time, as he gained a bit of time in Berlin. But Berlin's lost a huge amount of time to Haynes, though. It's been a massive drop off for him.
Right, the last lap for Thomas Jensen was a 2:03.3. Tom Dentist, 2:06.0.
He is definitely going slower now. 10 minutes left. He's got to do something.
It's 3 seconds that last lap, so this will get interesting.
And he's like a second slower through all the sectors. Like it's kind of crazy how much slower he is in each sector. You know, Tom Dentist is probably trying not to look at the relative and just trying to focus on going forwards, because he must be just not want to see that Bentley in the rear view mirrors. It visually is getting closer to him. This is your current lead, everyone. It's Tom Denton McLaren. He's in the lead. He hasn't pitted for tyres. He's pitted for fuel only. He's going for the end, and you can just see in the background of the back of his rear wing the Bentley of Thomas Jensen closing in lap by lap, about 3 or 2 seconds a lap closing on him with 10 minutes to go in this race. And that McLaren does not look stable at all just then. I saw the back end wiggle around a bit. And each time it does that, it's more and more time he loses.
And last lap for Tom Landis was a 205.9 and for Jensen a 203.6.
Botwith is getting closely on the back of Woolby, so Woolby's lost a bunch of time. He again didn't stop for tyres, but we're interested to see if he can keep his position going. The lead has dropped down to a gap of 4 seconds.
As it looks like Whitford is closing up on Walby. Let's have a look at their lap times right now. Walby did a 207.2, while Whitford did a 204.1.
That's quite.
They're getting very close now, so Whitford will be looking to get past. Reminder again, Walby did not change tires, Whitford did.
And Whitford's been having the higher pace all race so far, so Woolby got in the position because of his pit strategy. Now let's see if it'd be Achilles' heel or not.
Yeah, Whitford is within a second now.
Right on the back of that Mercedes. As Thomas Jensen breaks the 3-second barrier. As they get very close to Joe Whitford, Woolby is very slowly, they go side by side, and looks like he'll make the move. So, Woolby loses 2 positions.
Yeah.
But I don't know how much he actually gained from this. He was in P3, I can't actually remember where his original location was though.
Well, Bernier is 20 seconds behind him, so I think he'll be keeping this position unless something major happens.
So, the lead fight is closing in once again. 2-second gap. I think it's going to be a close one. And
Tom Landis did 205.9 again, Jensen 203.6.
the things that can stop Jensen right now is himself. He's completely in control of this, and it's all up to him now to make this happen.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
He's 2 seconds a lap faster most of the time, or about 1 to 2 seconds faster each lap. He's got new tyres, and he's got both have the same amount of fuel. There's no reason for him not to overtake him. The only way that Thomas Jensen can hope this happens is either he puts up one hell of the defense, or Tom Jensen overcooks it and bins it. So it's Tom.
Yeah, just under 6 minutes left in the race, so it could still get interesting. But I'm not sure Dentist will be able to defend this. It's an easy track to overtake on. If this was Sandford, it would have been a different story. But on this track, I think it should be fairly easy for Jensen to get by.
As they get under a second now, right on the tail of each other. That's it. This is now the moment. You can see how much later Jensen's going on the brakes because he can just has more traction. You can use it all, but he's not worried about overshooting as he closes the gap again onto the back of that McLaren. It's very close. There's a bit of contact there.
Just had a look at the track map, and it doesn't look like they'll be running into any traffic, so it's just the two of them.
Two of them. Less than 5 minutes left to go. Let's see if Thomas Jensen can hit the strategy which got him a win. Can he make it not work here? It goes very wide there, but he's the inside line. I'm really interested how much defense Thomas Dentist puts up. You're gonna have to put one hell of a defense up to stop the Bentley coming through. So, back straight. They're very close to each other now. And he's got the slipstream as well.
Yeah, I think Jensen will be trying to make a move into the hairpin here.
Side by side now.
Dentist staying on the inside.
Which one's more brave on the brakes? Oh, and Dentist just managed to keep it in front then.
For the time being.
For the time being.
Of course, there's another straight coming up now.
Another straight.
Jensen's still very close to behind.
Closing, closing, closing. Now this... Haynes has managed to defend here twice. Let's see if Dentist can defend here twice. There's 3 minutes on the clock. There's going to be 2 more laps, I believe, in this race. So, let's see what happens. As you're on board with Thomas Jensen now, he gets the slipstream again. Tom does go for the inside defensive line for turn 6. And he's gonna. Oh, who gets the better traction now? I think Thomas Jensen's got slightly better traction coming out of that. But he's got the outside line again now for the sweepers. Once again behind is a might be a tiny bit more contact there, but nothing major.
Jensen clearly has the better pace, but Dentist does not intend to make this easy for him.
So 2 minutes left. One more lap after this one, I believe, and then we will decide who will win this race. As they're very close, he's closer than ever before coming down the straight. Can he make it? As Dentist goes very wide out there, and he might have just lost his lead. He has. Oh no. Let's see if Dentist can take it back. He's been struggling to overtake the Bentley the whole race on fresh tyres. He's now got a very worn set of tyres. Can he make it happen?
And I don't think he can get close enough to do anything into the hairpin here.
Is he going for the cutback?
Able to sneak up the inside here?
No.
Still behind.
He just doesn't have the traction. He wants to get out. Both get very loose.
Both go very wide, but Dentist
gets worse off out of that.
That's it. Into the last lap.
And Jensen let's see what happens now. Jensen just made a mistake coming out the last corner. Nearly cost both of them. I think it's going to be a lost cause for Dentist, as now he's 3 seconds behind the Bentley, and he's going to have a worn set of tyres. I don't think he can do anything about this. It's 25 seconds left on the clock. That's 20. Checker flag will be arriving at the end of the start-finish straight for whoever gets there first out of these two, but it's looking like Thomas Jensen will have it in the bag. What happened was Dentist went wide out of turn 13. There's nothing he could do about it. He doesn't have the traction to pull the car back in. No grip there. Can't pull the car back in. There we go. So, as the clock is now at 0, checkered flag will be at the start finish straight. I believe it. At this rate, Thomas Jensen will be your race winner unless something happens. Don't know yet. You could have a horrible engine failure. Car could catch fire.
Oh no, no.
What's that? Flames coming out of the exhaust and lots of smoke. Oh no, no, no. So Thomas Jensen comes across the final corner. He will take the checkered flag for the 1 hour Shanghai after having to drive back, and he takes the checkered flag. Tom Dentist comes home in 2nd place. As Kovalainen comes down the back straight, he'll probably come home in 3rd.
Higgins coming up in last position, unfortunately. Not a very good race for him.
I don't think anything really went well for him. He just sort of... Nothing really went well at all. And that's an unfortunate race for him, as Kovalainen comes across the line now. Takes 3rd place, which I believe is his best result this season.
Right, Wilfred coming up now in 4th position.
And Jorgen Wolby coming home in 5th after his similar strategy to Dentist. Didn't last as long, but he still comes home in P5, which is a very good result. Nonetheless, Sebastian Brunier coming home in 6th. Smashes into the wall there. And he takes home as Timothy Haynes is now coming across the line. Coming home in P7, he qualified high. He was very high up during the race, but in a collision with, I believe, Mark Whitford, and he's dropped all the way back to P7, unfortunately, but that's where he finishes. Berlin in P8. Last car to be crossing the line will be Hakkinen in the McLaren, into all the way in P9, unfortunately for him. There we go. I believe that's everyone crossed the line. So your winner is Thomas Jensen. He wins for the 2nd time in a row. And it was not the easiest race for him. It would have been a lot harder to do.
Yeah, he started in P1 and managed to stay there for quite a while, but into the hairpin at the end of the back straight, he seemed to have outbraked himself and lost the position to Dentist, who then went on to take a risky strategy, which unfortunately did not pay off in the end, but it was very close. Definitely not a straightforward race.
So as we will possibly have an interview once again with Thomas Jensen, because who doesn't love a good old interview with him, as I will get the final results ready to upload. Once one. So once again, GT3 series produced some intense racing once again, coming down to the last second. It seems to be a common theme in this series. WTC seems a lot of action all the way through. This seems to be more about a long game and what people's strategies can be over the long term. So we're going to have Thomas Jensen with us now in the commentary box. Hello, Tom.
Hello there.
Managed to claw back victory from possibly Tom Dentist trying to pull your own move against you.
Yeah, I definitely expected it in this race. He was gonna do the opposite to me.
Did you at all panic because he was going to do it? Or did you sort of knew that this track would be obviously a lot easier to overtake on than Zandvoort, and you didn't really have
Yeah,
the issue?
that's what I expected, but it was surprisingly difficult to overtake him. The main strength of the Bentley is third and fourth gear, and on this track you're always in a corner in those gears. So my advantage on the straights wasn't as much as I hoped, but eventually I could just put the pressure on the whole lap just because of my fresher tires. He made a mistake.
You're lapping about 2 seconds quicker than him every lap since you put your new tyres on. It was basically inevitable, but did you feel like you could have done? It was all the pressure on you. Do you feel the pressure was on you to get the move done, or do you feel like it was just going to happen anyway?
Well, actually, like before I caught him, I didn't feel too much pressure. But once I drove one lap behind him, I realized it wasn't going to be just a walk in the park. Actually, had to work for it. Yeah.
This marks your third win in a row in the GT series. You're going to have possibly quite the advantage over him. Do you feel any pressure coming into the last race now? Which will be coming up.
Well, it can still turn around. I just have to make sure I'm finished.
Anything you would like to add, Erwin?
Not really.
You didn't mention my mistake at all. I don't know if you saw it.
Oh,
Yeah, we did see it.
We did see it.
At the hairpin.
It was a bit.
And you lost the position to Dentist.
Yeah, I was going over the possible strategies in my head, and I suddenly noticed the 100 board in the corner of my eye when you normally brake at 150. I've done that multiple times on this track before. So it's just those brake markers just all look the same out of the corner of your eye. It's easy to miss them.
So did you feel? Did you enjoy your time at this track? Because there was a bit of a case coming into this where people would not enjoy it, and the racing would be particularly good here.
Yeah, I do actually enjoy the track, but it was a really difficult challenge in a front engine car, as many will confirm.
I mean, how difficult was it in the front wheel drive? Because you sort of said that, and in practice, for a lot of it, you were behind Tom Dentis, and sort of during qualifying, and you basically pulled the lap out again and managed to get in front.
Yeah, in qualifying, of course, I just ran my normal setup, but in the race, I had to run 2 clicks of wing and a bit softer setup on the rear to make sure I didn't spin out in the long sweeping corners. Because that was the main difficulty, just keeping it straight in those while you're cornering and putting the power down. Because especially the Bentley has so much power, it's really easy to go sideways, and then you lose a ton of time, and you can even lose the car.
Well,
but it's fun.
So do you feel like? And I not know, isn't that? So well, congratulations on your win. You'll be leading the championship now by a couple of points, quite a few points now. So best of luck to you for next week if you're racing touring cars. Anything you'd like to add, Erwin?
No, I think it was a very exciting race for P1 there. And congratulations on the win.
Thank you. Thank you for commentating again.
No worries.
I do also, in the chat right now on Discord, it seems that Mark Whitford has taken responsibility for the collision with Tim Haynes. Seems he just outbroke himself and caused the collision there. Which may have both of them dropped down to the back of the grid.
So we will quickly have on screen the current championship. For penalties, obviously penalties will be done. Bit. So, go. here is your current championship standings. Thomas Jensen now leads the series with 100 points to his name. Tom Dentist in second with 85. Mark Whitford increases his lead into third with 69. Daniel Hireman is fourth with 53. Sebastian Bruni in 41 in fifth. Hovalainen in sixth with 39. Wolby in seventh with 35. Berlin in eighth with 33. Nath ninth with 27. Sun Jensen 10th with also 27 points. Dragos Bibe in 11th with 21. John Dalton in 12th with 20. Tim Haynes in 13th with 19 points. Robert Nygaard in 14th with 17 points. Charlie Darling 15th with 6 points. Hakkinen in 16th with 15 points. Higgins in 17th with 15 points. Robert Sunderland 18th with 12 points. Chris Burr in 19th with 11 points. And Marcus Lawrence 20th with 9 points. So, anything you would like to add, Erwin, before we call this a night on this, to the end of this exciting, panicking race for some people?
It's been interesting. Seen some split strategies again. Plenty of action, I think. Without too much chaos.
There's a couple of collisions, but it was still remarkably clean for the most part. Now, so that will be it, everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed the show. We surely did enjoy broadcasting this. If you do enjoy this kind of broadcast, make sure you stay focused on this channel for the next couple of races. Next week will be Shanghai again with touring cars, then after that will be the finals at Laguna Seca in GT3, and then the week after that WTCC.
Make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, etc.
I've been your host, Alex. This is also with Erwin. Hope everyone enjoyed. Right, bye.
Goodbye.